Hey everybody, welcome to 20 by 2. I'm your host, Andrew Huff. If you've never been to 20 by 2 before, how many of you have not been here before? All right, a good number. 20 people, here's what you're about to see. 20 people handpicked by me and my hardworking team. They're chosen for their interestingness, their creativity, their worldview in some cases. Very interesting people we got coming up. Starting to sound a little like Trump. I'm going to stop that. They are asked a question, and it's the same question for all 20. They get it well in advance so they can think about what they're going to do and do something interesting with it. And then they have to answer it in 2 minutes or less. So what you're going to see here are 20 takes on one question, and that question this time is, why did you stop? You're going to hear that line a lot. Think about that for a second. How many different ways could you go with it? 20, why did you stop? How could you answer it? We're going to find out. And the irony is, all the people who are on this stage or coming up on this stage are folks I know who almost never stop. So it'll be really interesting to hear what they say. It's also a very fast-paced show. If you don't like what's on stage, don't worry, 2 minutes from now it'll be over. Regardless, don't forget to clap. At the end usually, or right now, go ahead. Yeah. We are also going to do a little contest at the intermission, and don't worry, there is an intermission, so you can go refresh yourself at the bar, or in the bathroom, wherever else you need to refresh. But stick around. You can find us online at 20x2.org/Chicago. You can also find us on Twitter and Facebook at 20x2shy. And yeah, there you go. We also have a hashtag for this show, 20x2shy. So hashtag 20x2shy. That'll come into play at the intermission. And now our first speaker. Lagitza Botigliero. Say that right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Lagitza is a first-generation kid with a funky name, a love of world music, and all things tech. She's also a mom of 2 kids, whose names are just as funky, and a sommelier husband who keeps their house stocked with wine. Lagitza started her pursuit of the EGOT when she received an Emmy for her work with NBC Chicago. She turns 40 this year. Is that still true? You did? Yeah. And she is starting the stuff she once stopped. But for now, she's going to start us off. Lagitza, why did you stop?
Rest in power, Prince. The shoes are for him tonight. Okay. All right. Grow up hiding from your funny name, graduate high school, get a scholarship and go to college, 4 years. 2 years as an RA, and 4 years busting your ass with internships. Then you graduate, you forego the whole backpack 3-year thing and have that college year to yourself after college. Go to Chicago and spend the first year, 2 weeks a month, in a car driving to Newton, Iowa to show Maytag how to use the internet. The dot-com bust of 2001, you lose your job, you're washing dishes and get a new job at some travel company called Orbitz. You sleep under your desk, you cancel vacations, you experience 9/11 pre and post, you're sad, and then you're at your desk and your whole left side begins to palpitate and start to shake. You go to the ER at 27, and the doctor tells you if you don't slow down, you will have a heart attack. So then, you put an epic savings plan in place. You maximize the shit out of your vacation time. You go to the Alps and ride the bike in the Alps, and then you go to wine country by yourself, riding shotgun by yourself with a driver. It's 2004, and then you're in the hotel lobby of your hotel watching the DNC. And Senator Barack Obama gets to the stage, and then he says when he's talking at the end, "Hope for a skinny kid with a funny name." Everything stops. You fly back to Chicago, decide to stay at the Alliance Française de Lyon, you book your trip to Alliance Française de Lyon, you find a place to live, you convince your former Orbitz coworker to travel back with you on a boat on the Queen Mary 2 after school is over, then you go to the office, you quit, you hire, and you befriend your new replacement at that job. You write the most epic transition document known to man in e-marketing known to date, and then you leave. 6 weeks to the day you had that wine, watching Barack Obama, you're in France, eating the most amazing creme fraiche and baguettes and pain au chocolat and 4:30 goûter of your life. And then you're back in a boat across the Atlantic, walking around to the American tourists saying, Jack, Jack, there's a boat, Jack. Nobody gets the joke. And then you find yourself in New York a week later, accidentally becoming the personal concierge to two of the Swiss guys you met on the boat because they don't like to travel by plane. Platonic. And then you find yourself back in your Lakeview apartment, trying to replicate the recipes that Marie taught you in her apartment in Lyon. You're 28. 12 years ago, I stopped everything. And then everything started.
Guys, got your drinks? Hey, nice. Number 2, Fawzia Mirza is an actor, writer, and producer who believes in the power of comedy as a tool to break down stereotypes across all her identities. She is a creative workaholic, and she believes in dispelling the myth of the modern minority. She's written, produced, and starred in theater, web series, short films, and feature films. She is currently co-producing alongside Chicago's New City and Full Spectrum Features her first feature film in Chicago in August, called Signature Move, about a Pakistani Muslim lesbian who's learning to find herself in love and wrestling. She just got back from NYC and the Tribeca Film Festival, where her script was selected as part of the 2016 Tribeca Institute All Access program. Fawzia, why'd you stop?
So I'm an actor, but I decided to be an actor the hardest way possible, on a lawyer's debt. So I moved to Chicago to go to law school, to Chicago Kent College of Law, because as any good South Asian Muslim girl, her parents said to her, get an education. So I did. I went to law school, I graduated, I took the bar exam, I graduated, and I was an attorney. Actually, I'm still licensed to practice law in the state of Illinois. Don't ask me for advice. Now, I was a civil defense litigator. I was actually an insurance defense litigator. Anybody know what that is? Yeah, I'm sorry. So, an insurance defense litigator is someone who defends insurance companies when their clients are sued for personal injuries. So I defended companies when they were sued for like really big millions and millions of dollar cases, when there was wrongful death, or there were horrible accidents involved where there was disabilities, or when there was like a small slip and fall for like $10,000. Now, this was really hard. It was really hard for them, obviously, but for me emotionally, because every time I got a new case, to me it was more than a case. It was a story, because this was a story of people. So there was one case where it was a young South Asian Muslim girl, and she's like 10 years old, and she's on her way to break her fast during the month of Ramadan, the holy month of fasting for Muslims. And she was hit by my client, and she was instantly killed. And it's one of those things where those images of being the lawyer, working at one of the lawyers working on the case, the images are imprinted in your brain. And I remember reading the depositions and stories of her parents and their stories of their sadness and their loss, and connecting it to my family and my community. And I was crying, listening to these stories, just crying. And one of the main partners saw me, he came into my office and he said, Fawzia, what's going on? I said, well, does it get easier? And he said, I don't know. But you have to learn how to turn off your emotions. And at this point, I'd already started taking acting classes at night and lawyering by day. And at this point, I left the law for multiple reasons. One of them to pursue my dream as an artist. But that moment when that attorney said that to me, I was like, I don't want to turn off my emotions. My emotions are everything that makes me who I am. And that moment was the pivotal moment of when I knew I had to stop.
Like I said, very, very fast. Felix Jung runs Voisin.com, a personal blog that he has updated daily since July of 2002. Yeah, and he really has. He works as a web developer for Sears Holdings, and his online projects have been featured on sites like Product Hunt, Boing Boing, and Metafilter, among others. His latest project is Villanellebot, an online bot on Twitter that writes poems in Villanelle format, using Twitter posts from random people. Felix, you have 2 minutes to tell us why you stopped. Come on up.
When Anne died, it took all of us by surprise. We broke up in 2000. She left for California, I left for Chicago. She gave me some of her prized shamrocks, a mixture of green and the less common red. We talked at first on the phone, but gradually the time between calls grew. I took care of those plants, but sometimes I get busy and I forget about them, and then a couple weeks would go by and there'd be nothing but dry, empty flower pots. I threw a little water on them, and to my surprise, they came back. More than once I forgot about them, and more than once some returned. In 2004, I got the news that Anne had died. She was only 28. What if I had followed her to California? I felt that had I just loved her more, she would not have died. The shamrocks were gone at this point, but I kept watering, and about a month later when I saw this, I was so surprised I nearly broke down crying. Eventually, I got busy again. Eventually, I forgot again, and eventually, finally, they just stopped coming back. Those plants were the only thing that I had that belonged to Anne. They were a symbol of our friendship, a symbol of her, and I failed to keep them alive. How fucking hard is it to water a plant? When the first anniversary of her death came, I remember, and the second, and the third. But slowly the days started slipping by. I began to forget. It's been 12 years since Anne died. Walking home with my wife last year, she asked, "Why did you stop?" And I pointed at a bed of shamrocks growing in someone's front yard. I had never seen so many before in one place. They were lush, vibrant, just beautiful in the sunlight. They had taken me completely by surprise.
Get a lot of different angles, as you can now see. That's just a little bit of the breath. We'll get a little lighter soon, don't worry. After leaving the white supremacist skinhead movement he helped build in the 1980s and 1990s, Christian Picciolini graduated from DePaul University and became a respected entrepreneur. He launched Goldmill Group, a global entertainment and consulting firm, and in 2010 and 2011, he was nominated for 3 regional Emmy Awards for his role as executive producer of JBTV, one of America's longest-running music television programs. In 2010, he co-founded Life After Hate, a nonprofit dedicated to helping others gain the knowledge necessary to implement long-term solutions that counter racism and violent extremism. In 2015, Picciolini published a memoir, his memoir, Romantic Violence, Memoirs of an American Skinhead, where he details his involvement in the early American white power skinhead movement. And here he is to take 2 minutes to tell us why he stopped. Christian?
So by a show of hands, how many of you guys looked like this studly nerd in the 80s? Seriously, show of hands. Okay, put him down. How many of you were part of a violent white supremacist neo-Nazi skinhead group? Yeah, that was me. 14 years old, I was approached in an alley by a man who was twice my age. The year was 1987. And I was standing there smoking a joint, contemplating what to do with my life. Like most teenagers, I was pretty normal. I felt disaffected, marginalized, I had low self-esteem, low self-confidence. I really wanted a place to belong, and I really wanted to matter. Because I wasn't raised a racist. My parents certainly weren't racist. They were immigrants who came to this country in the mid-1960s, and they were often the victims of prejudice. But I felt powerless. At 14 years old, I felt like I couldn't do anything right. So when I was standing in that alley and that man came up to me and he promised me that he could save my life, and all I had to do was to speak up and protect what was rightfully mine, I jumped in head first. I wasn't racist. I learned how to be. And I learned how to be because I was isolated in a little bubble where I didn't have access to black people, or Latinos, or gay people. I lived in a bubble where I was scared of everybody else. I was scared of what they would do, what they would come into my neighborhood and do. And because I'd never met anybody, it was easy to dehumanize. Why did I stop? Because I was running out of time.
Tori Zakaris leads a double life. By day, she's a housewife in the northwest suburbs, but by night she tells stories around Chicagoland at shows like The Stoop, Misspoken, and Serving the Sentence. She thanks you for being interested in what she has to say. So Tori, what did you come here to say? Why'd you stop? Come on up.
First, I have to dance with the microphone. It was Melissa's turn to speak. My friend wore a great floor-length dress with an asymmetrical shoulder, the kind of bridal fashion that becomes dated minutes after purchase. I should know, I was the bride. Melissa and I and about 100 other people were at my wedding reception, and it had been pretty standard thus far. My DJ played Kenny G while my husband and I were getting pictures taken. I wouldn't have let him do it had I been there. The beer was flowing, and soon a buffet dinner would be served. Her toast, which I knew nothing about, was started out by, she told the crowd how we knew each other. We met in our college cafeteria, and our friendship flowered from there. She then told those assembled I was too hard on myself with regards to my friendships, my relationship turned marriage, and in my then career as a secretary. See, I used to be a reporter for my hometown newspaper. In 2005, I was fired. Melissa said that I took being let go from that position way too hard. And this is what shocked me. She doesn't give herself enough credit for what a good writer she is, she said. And the crowd began to applaud. My tears upon hearing this clapping could have filled everyone's beer glass. I'd forgotten that I wrote. While I had contributed pieces to VenusScene.com here and there after my stacking, I never would have introduced myself as a writer. If some stranger had said I was a good writer, I would have peed myself laughing at them. So after the wedding, maybe it was time to put finger to keyboard and see what I could do. Thank you.
Nick Davis, you got there? All right. Nick Davis, a Chicago area native, is originally an actor, but decided to learn the works of film. The actor turned filmmaker is now finishing up his last semester at Columbia and plans to make powerful films right here in Chicago. His current project is a documentary called Painful Beauty, which focuses on the journey of Tim and Tammy, a couple here in Chicago who just happen to be homeless. Nick, unfortunately, can't be here with us tonight. However, he sent along a little excerpt of the movie to give you an idea of why he stopped and paid attention. Here we go.
Innocent love, where did you go? You're causing a confusion in my head more than you know. What you said to me. Being here with you right now, there's no place I'd rather be. Just please stay with me. Wrap your arms around me tight as we lay underneath the illuminating lights. Innocent love, show me the way home. 'Cause I would rather be here with you right now.
Jen Sabella hails from from Chicago's Southwest Side, where her liberal all-girls Catholic school turned her into the radical lesbian feminist that she is. At least that's what her dad says. Before launching DNA Info Chicago, where she is the deputy editor, Jen ran the Huffington Post's local operation and did morgue runs for the Sun-Times. Yeah, that's really a thing. Jen, give us the rundown. Why did you stop? Come on up.
So when Andrew approached me about doing this, I was like, this is going to be no problem for me, despite my crippling fear of public speaking, because I am a quitter. I've always been a quitter. I quit Girl Scouts. This is my first camping trip, sobbing. Mom picked me up in Wisconsin. I'm sorry if you are there, get me. Always. So I was like, there's just so many stories of me stopping. Where do I even start? I stopped dating men. I stopped dating men because I was like, I met someone and I don't have to fake orgasms anymore. It's amazing. I stopped being a broadcast journalism major. That was after my partner, my first TV news class, told me how she lasered off every single hair on her body. She was like, this is going to save me so much time in my life. And I was like, this isn't for me. I stopped waxing my eyebrows off completely because I didn't look like Gwen Stefani, but I looked like a creepy ginger Clara Bow. I would draw them on and wear a bindi, and I was like, this isn't working for me. I also stopped drinking whiskey, not after the time that a homeless guy had to call my ex-boyfriend to pick me up because he was like, this bitch needs to get off my corner. Like, she's a train wreck. Can I use your phone? You need to get get a ride home. That's not why. I kept drinking whiskey after that. And then I broke up with my girlfriend, who's now my wife. And the next morning, I was like, hey, boo. And she was like, what the fuck? And I'm like, what? And she's like, well, you broke up with me last night. And I was like, really? I'm sorry, I don't remember that. So I stopped drinking whiskey, but I still drink a lot of tequila. And before this event, I decided, I was like, that's it. I'm having way too many meltdowns. I can't figure out what I'm going to talk about. And I'm going to stop agreeing to public speaking.
Don't quit. I'm just getting started. You know who is a quitter? Designer and Kickstarter co-founder Charles Adler is a total quitter. He quit orchestra in 7th grade. He quit soccer in 8th grade. He quit architecture before he even got started. He quit he quit college. He quit his job. He quit his other job. Quitter. He actually wrote this. I'm just not. Anyway, the next thing he's going to quit is the Center for Lost Arts, a space enabling the intersection of disciplines, instigating economic development, and supporting creative exploration. Opening soon on Goose Island. Not the beer, yeah. And in 2 minutes, he'll quit telling us why he stopped. Come on up, Charles.
The plug was not mine. So you asked me, why did you stop? To the heart, tick tock. I don't stop. I don't stop. I don't stop. I begin over and over and over again. Why do I stop? It's the wrong observation, my friend. You see, time doesn't stop. Time doesn't wait. It cares not if you're weak, if you're tired, if you're hungry. And so, like you, I have no time. I have no time to stop. So I begin because time continues. Because time does not stop. No, sir, and I don't stop. No, sir, I quit. I quit one thing to start another. I quit one thing to begin the next. I pushed the world further into the form that I wanted to make it. Into a world that I want to see by taking the first step. So I suspect my actions speak a bit louder than the words that I'm preaching right now. Tick tock. Hell no. I don't stop. I begin over and over and over again. Thanks.
Nice. Can you lower this? All right. Architect and educator Catherine Darnstedt is the founder and principal of Latent Design, a progressive architecture and urban studies firm conceiving dialogue-based sustainable living solutions by combining contemporary, sustainable architectural and urban issues, with direct stakeholder involvement. The results of this all-inclusive and intensive approach are extremely diverse, ranging from buildings to objects and urban designs that activate and motivate, to new forms of community, usage, and interaction between architecture and users. But right now, she's going to tell us why she stopped.
Hello, and thank you. Fundamentally, I think ugly is an opportunity, and our spaces are as profound as we allow them to be. When these two ideas intersect, the potential of the void and the lust we have for the vibrant, we get remnants not unlike this photo of public spaces that dot the city in a subversive cartography that maps both inclusion and in the infrastructure of politics. And about 6 months ago, this happened. On the same forgotten space, over an intense 3 days, my architecture firm with all of our team transformed a shipping container into the city's first pop-up space as a tactical way to bridge the gap between startup and storefront. Many of our clients, our friends, our family have experienced bringing their own individual genius to fruition. So we started to think over the time of developing this, what would happen instead of signing a 3-year lease, a business could think about investing in only 3 months. Or instead of waiting 5-10 years for the next Whole Foods to pop up on vacant land, what if a small theater could occupy that space for a season? So stripping away the industrial aesthetic of a shipping container, we rebuilt the structure into a space that can instantly transform from store to stage just by opening up the doors, both figuratively and literally. And we have plenty of ugly opportunities in Chicago and in the city. Over 12 acres of public space alone, just as part of this program. And the city has only provided $50,000 to create this initiative. For comparison, we're about to sell off a piece of the lakefront for about $500 million for the Lucas Museums, and we're only getting 12 acres in return. So when we think about this, social impact isn't just about an object, it's a system. It's not only about what's being built, but by who builds. And this only started to happen when I stopped just being an architect of cities and started to truly, truly be a citizen in one, and that's Chicago. Thank you.
Yeah, architecture. Awesome. All right, we got one more, and then we're going to do an intermission. How do you feel? All right. Hey, GPA, get up here. All right. James Gordon, better known as GPA, greatest poet alive, is an international award-winning author and poet. And he was recently named UBAWA's Children's Author of the Year.
Do you clap for that?
Yeah. He is a Moth Grand Slam champion. Right? And he can be seen on episodes of Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Chicago Med. What's that other one they did?
Empire.
Oh, yeah. No, well, Empire and Shameless. As well as the movies Animals and A Slice of Life. GPA, help close this out. Why'd you stop?
What's up, beautiful people? Y'all good? Stop. All I want to do is walk down the hallways to my class without you knocking the books out of my hand or pushing me inside a locker. Stop. I just want to be able to sit and eat my lunch with the rest of my classmates without you reaching on my plate and taking my chocolate milk. Stop. I want to be able to go to gym class without you hitting me upside the head with a ball or giving me 1,000 wedgies. Stop! I just want to be able to walk home by myself, not with a group of people, not running, not hiding because you're coming. Stop! But no matter how many parent-teacher conferences we went to, now how many times you were suspended, you didn't stop. Not until I waited inside the bathroom while you were using the bathroom, pulled off my boot and beat the shit out of you with and left you laying and bloody. Then you decided to stop bullying me. Stop bullying. Thank you.
Land speed record right there. All right, we are going into the intermission here. You're going to get the chance to hit that bar back there, talk about what you've just seen. you know, loosen up. Maybe are these fans on? Yeah, they're on. Is it a little too hot? No. Good? All right, good. I'm in a wool coat, so. Before I let you go, though, I want to give you a little contest to enter. So if you've got your phone, and who doesn't, and if you have a Twitter account, and who doesn't, most people, Don. All right. I want you to answer a question. What did you stop? What is the thing that you stopped that is maybe either funny or interesting or, you know, whatever, something that might win you a prize? And after the break, I'm going to read a couple of your answers. I want you to hashtag them, by the way, that 20x2shy, or just tweet it at 20x2shy. And when we come back, I will hand out some prizes. Thanks. And yeah, stick around. Thanks.